Hello, grade 9. We are going to discuss the remaining lessons that we have for the second grading. So this video is quite lengthy, medyo mahaba, but I promise you that it will be concise, siksik, and we will learn about the technique that is accessible and descriptive for you. So in this video, there are 5 questions that you are going to answer, and you will be submitting it to me on February 4. Now, let's talk about the quantum mechanical model. So previously, we were discussing about the different atomic models, and we have already established that quantum mechanical model is the atomic model that we use today. If you remember, it was formulated by the physicist named Erwin Schrödinger, wherein he said that the exact location of an electron cannot be determined. Hindi talaga natin mapipinpoint the exact location of an electron. But, sabi niya, it can be approximated. So, ibig sabihin, unlike the first few atomic models, sabi niya, hindi mo actually madedetermine or mapipinpoint kung nasaan ba yung electron at this given time. So if you remember the previous examples of atomic models, we have the infamous nuclear and planetary model. Kung naaalala nyo ang models na ito, diba sabi ko sa inyo, ang nucleus ay nasa gitna and then the electrons outside the nucleus are following a certain pathway. Meron siya sinusunod na pathway called orbitals. So ibig sabihin, parang may imaginary line na fino-follow yung direction ng pag-ikot ng electrons outside the nucleus. But, in the quantum mechanical model, it was established that there are no definitive pathways. Walang sinusundan na imaginary line. But, there is a definite region, merong space na nakalaan for the electrons or kung saan nagmo-move yung electrons, where electrons are acting as waves. This region is called an electron cloud. Now, for your first question number 1. What is the difference between planetary model of an atom and quantum mechanical model? Ano ang pagkakaiba ng planetary model of an atom and quantum mechanical model? Okay, so what is the most defining characteristic? Bakit ba unique ang quantum mechanical model? Now, quantum mechanical model uses math, as I told you, pero wag matakot sa math. These numbers will just be used to describe kung ano ang itsura ng ating electrons. Now, we have 4 quantum numbers that are very easy to compute. Wag lang po malilito. Diba, we abbreviated the 4 quantum numbers as PAMS, principal, angular, magnetic, and spin. Principal quantum number or letter N shows the distance, yung layo ng cloud doon sa nucleus. It also signifies the energy level of an electron region. Next, the angular quantum number or letter L shows the shape of the orbital, yung hugis ng orbital. Next, the magnetic quantum number talks about the orientation. Yung orientation niya sa space, ito ba ay nakapahiga sa x-axis, nakapatayo sa y, pa-diagonal sa z. So, that's magnetic quantum number. And then the last one is your spin quantum number, which talks about the rotation of the electron, yung ikot ng electron. So, let's discuss this briefly one by one. But before this, you have your question number 2. Question number 2 is, what are the 4 quantum numbers and what do they describe? What are the 4 quantum numbers and what do they describe? Ano daw yung 4 and what do they describe? The first one is the principal quantum number or letter n, small letter n. So, paano natin yung kino-compute? It is computed by any positive integer. So, principal quantum number is any positive integer, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. It describes the size, yung laki, and your energy level, yung lakas ng bawat level. The higher the number means, mas mataas daw yung number, it means the farther the distance from the nucleus, mas malayo siya sa nucleus, the bigger the size, it means it can hold more electrons, and the higher the energy. So, ibig sabihin, level 1 is closest, principal number 1 is the closest in the from the nucleus, but it's the smallest as well, and it has the lowest energy. While 4, malayo na yon. It is bigger than number 1, and it has higher energy. So, napakadali. Principal number is just any positive integer. Next, angular quantum number, letter L, ranges from, the value of angular number ranges from 0 to n minus 1. So, mula 0 hanggang principal number minus 1. Bawasan mo ng isa. This angular number describes the shape of the subshell. Ano ibig sabihin nun? So, kunyari, if your n is 2, ibig sabihin your principal number is 2. Nasa pangalawang level ka. Then, yung L mo ay 0 at saka 1. Bakit? Kasi, to get the angular number, you get the range from 0 hanggang n minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So, your L, the values of your L are 0 and 1. How about naman if n equals 3? Then, the values of your L is 0, 1, and 2. Kasi 3 minus 1 is 2. So, kukunin mo yung values ng 0 hanggang 2. So, that's 0, 1, and 2. Now, your n, if you remember, stands for your principal quantum number. Now, so far, we are aware of 4 angular quantum numbers. So, if you get the value of 0, pag sinabi, di ba sabi natin, angular numbers talks about the shape. So, yung 0, pag ang value daw ay 0, ibig sabihin nun, iyon ay S-shape. That's also the same as S. Ang tawag sa shape ay S-shape. Okay? So, most commonly, this is described as parang round shape, pa-round yung region nung level na yon. Okay? So, this region, we can call this subshells. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung hilerang yon, that level, that when its value is 0, the shape is S, but we can commonly describe it as a round shape. Next, if the value is 1, then the equivalent letter is P. Ang tawag naman sa shape ng subshell ay letter P. So, how can we often describe it? Para siyang oval shape na opposite poles na parang merong gitna na parang pinisil sa gitna, 'di ba? Parang oval shape na pinisil sa gitna. Parang parang number 8. Okay, ng printed. Number 8 ng printed. Next, if the value is 2, then the shape is called D shape. Again, pag value ay 2, the shape is letter D. In the D shape, the shape is commonly described as parang flower, no? Parang petals ng flower, 4 petals. And then, pag ang value naman ay 3, the shape is called F shape. It's commonly described as a complex number of petals ng parang flower. So, ibig sabihin nun, as we move from S or 0, P1, D2, and F3, it gets complex or it gets complicated. The shape gets complex. Okay? Now, for your question number 3. If the principal number n is 4, kapag ang principal number nyo daw ay 4, what are the angular numbers and their orbital shapes? Again, if the principal number n is 4, what are the angular numbers and their orbital shapes? So, you will compute the values of L if the principal number is 4. So, that's it for the part 1 of the video. I will be uploading on a separate video yung part 2 so that you can take the task easily.